And I want to talk now about the Millennium Dome project, the Treasury project, Airbus, the Airbus project, and then also the Maccallan distillery, which I've grouped them together because I think they're quite similar type of project. They were commissioned commercially or as a sort of commercial profession. But you approach the work in some way not commercial way. You approach it in a very sort of artistic way. Can I say that or not?
Yeah, you can. Well, I'm not an architectural photographer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how
a
building stands up. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say, but I mean, to put it bluntly, I suppose that's where I'm coming from. I don't, I go out of my way to remain quite naive about these things. Yeah, that all started when, during the shipping forecast, I was looking at this other kind of work, from Germany and America. And like a lot of photographers towards the end of the 90s, I was looking for a project, something to do with the millennium. It's a long story, but I ended up trying to get access to the Millennium Dome site and being turned down. So I was bombarding them with photocopies, as it was then, of 19th century building projects, because in the 19th century it was quite typical for a photographer to record one photographer to record a great public building being built from beginning to end, and then they'd make these albums, very sought after by book collectors now. And I just wore them down in the end. I think I asked, 4 or 5 times, they're packets of this stuff arriving, and then in the end they just said, okay, you can come in, but we can only let you in if we pay you to come in, which I wasn't expecting, because I didn't know you could get paid for doing something you wanted to do. But the alarm bells went off in my mind, and I think this is a really important point to make, is that I said straight away, and I'm not the most pushy of people, so I was quite surprised I had the gall to do this, but to go to the New Millennium Experience company and say, I'll accept your money, thank you very much, but I do not want to be the photographer who's there to photograph Tony Blair coming to... Yeah, or Tony Blair meeting the architect, shaking hands. I'm not interested in it. You can do all... I'm not even interested in doing architectural pictures. I want to use the building site as an inspiration to make work inspired by it. So it's inspired by the building, not about the building. And there's a subtle difference there, I think. And amazingly, they agreed to that. So I treat those kind of work, those kind of long-term commissions, because they all are long-term. Airbus lasted 3 years. The Dome was 3 years long as well. I treat these as important that to me they're as important as any work that I make myself. And indeed, because I'm allowed to do what I want. That's the position that I negotiate always. And we make, I made an artist book about the Treasury project. We made a book about the Dome, which is my edit, and entirely, so they're books I'm very proud of. And I've recently been looking at doing a book which brings together 21 years of working in the construction industry, of the best of that work from all sorts of things, from day jobs in a watch factory to the Airbus 3-year commission for the A380, and taking everything out of context and making a sort of a visual sequence of maybe 400 pictures. Not to get myself new work. It's not to say, hey, look how good I am at doing this kind of thing. It's actually to celebrate the fact that one can make interesting work within a context of commercial photography, if you like. Because when all this was put together, I worked with Stuart Smith on this, and we worked together on this edit and sequence. And I was looking at all the pictures, and I suddenly realised that I'd been paid to take every single one.
Yeah, Mark, I think this is very interesting what you say, because most of the time when I talk to photographers or even young photographers, there's always this sort of fear to
Kodak quiet,
or they try to differentiate very much between their commercial work and their personal project, etc. But you manage to actually combine the two together with a very strong artistic integrity through it.
Well, yeah, but I have been very lucky, and I think that the Magnum connection now has obviously helped with that. But this is all about trust. It's about the client, if you like, believing in or trusting in your authorship, and There's something that Steve Jobs once said, which has been a kind of mantra for me ever since. When he was discussing the iPhone, he said, you know, I'm not interested in what the public, I'm not interested in surveys amongst the public, because the public don't know what they want. I give the public what they want. So that is an idea, because we couldn't have imagined the iPhone. We couldn't have said we want one of these things. So it was presented to us. And I think that with this kind of commercial work, that if I don't tell an architect how to design a building, or a builder how to make a wall, but and I think the trust has to come the other way as well. So I think photographers are in a position to be able to give a client something that they didn't know they wanted, if you like. Yeah, so when with some of these construction projects that I've done, they've ended up being quite big museum shows. The Dome exhibition toured all around South America in big museums. So if you think about it, that's really getting the work out to a whole new audience that the New Millennium Experience couldn't possibly have imagined.